What if I told you that there was a Murder Drones character that was super important to the storyline of the show, yet has no speaking roles, isn't seen alive except through one flashback, is completely overshadowed by another character, and doesn't even have a canon name, despite literal background characters having them, like this bus driver. Did you know his name was Ronathan? Crazy. Anyway, there is a character like that who exists, a character so relevant, yet so obscure. But who is this mystery character I've been alluding to? What do we know about them? And why have they been given this fate? Well, come with me as we explore the Murder Drones character who never existed. Now, the first important thing to know is who exactly I'm referring to. Well, dear viewer, that character is none other than Doll's father. A character only even mentioned or referenced in 3 out of the 7 episodes, one of which just being a picture. So what were these appearances, despite the little that he had? Well, first, at the end of episode 2 Heartbeat, Doll references the fact that both of her parents had been killed and she watched them die. Then in the next episode, episode 3 The Promenade, we see this take place in the form of a flashback, where Doll's mother, Yeva, is killed by V, and then her father has the same fate, crawling away while grabbing a camera to take a picture of his killer before he succumbs to her. This same photo of V is the same one that Doll holds at the end of episode 2. Next, he appears at the end of episode 3 where him and his wife's corpses are set at a table to feed into Doll's fantasy of them being alive, where you can see their horrified expressions in a hole through both of their heads, meaning V killed them by shooting them straight through the head, which is the exact same way she defeats Doll. It's a cool little detail, I just thought I'd point that out. Anyways, episode 4, the last appearance or even mention of him. He appears in this photo that Khan shows to Uzi containing him, Nori, Yeva, Doll's dad, Sarah, and some other worker drones. Yep, real crazy stuff, I know. You see what I have to work with? Pretty much nothing. But nonetheless, I feel like this character is interesting for the fact that they are just so irrelevant. So that's why I'm making this. Now that I've explained who he is and what his appearances are though, let's go into what we do know about him, or what we can infer from the little that we have been given. Of course, with such limited screen time, it's hard to know much about this dude. However, that being said, there are some pieces of information we can use to get an idea of this guy's personality and who he was. First, we know he was connected to Nori and Khan, as shown in the cabin fever picture where he and Yeva are shown next to Nori and Khan, something I already said. However, something I did not mention is that his personality is shown slightly through this image as well. He seems to be very paranoid and even traumatized, as shown by him curling up into a ball next to Yeva in said picture, who also looks pretty traumatized, though more insane than anxious when compared to her husband. This has led some to believe that he could have also been a cabin fever subject like Nori and Yeva, which is entirely possible due to the look on their faces, though they would have also lost these memories, so it's hard to say. Plus, Nori doesn't look too out of it. His job is also very likely a WDF guard, similar to the guard in episode 2, Ron, as we can see that the hat and outfit are very similar to the one that Doll's father is wearing in episode 3, during the flashback. When he and Yeva died is not exactly clear. However, I will get into that during the theory section, which will come after this. We also know that he and his wife both didn't even taste that good, according to V. This is not important in the slightest, but I thought I'd mention it because it is something, and I'm really grasping for straws here about what I can talk about with this guy, because, he's pretty much irrelevant, but, who cares? Let's keep going. Now, like I said, let's get onto some of the more speculative and theory crafting stuff. Doll's father, as irrelevant as he is, you would assume he doesn't have much in this department, which you would be correct in, but that doesn't mean he has nothing. He has some pretty interesting things to look at. First is when exactly he died. We know it has to be at least before episode 2, likely either during the pilot or when she was a kid around the same time Nori died. The evidence we have from the first one is that it kinda looks like Pilot V in the flashback. That, and she doesn't use her solver to attack V. Yeah, that's really all there is, and it could fit somewhere during that scene where V goes to the vents to kill worker drones, I guess. Though it's a little messy. As for her not using the solver, she needs to have some sort of plan to go perfectly, as shown in episode 3 where she has this huge elaborate plot to get V in the perfect spot. Not to mention Jade was also there, so she probably knew she wouldn't have a chance against taking them both on such short notice. The one I do believe to be true, however, is that it was when she was a kid, and he and his wife died during the first disassembly drone attack, which also killed Nori. This lines up better with the timeline that we have because 1, Doll's apartment looks like a mess in episode 3. Looks like the parents have been gone for a long time, judging by the mess and the bugs. 2, while it's hard to tell exactly how old she is in the screenshot, judging by her height, it could easily line up with her being a kid. And we do not see her in a morning state during episode 2 or at the end of the pilot, something I feel like she would do immediately after seeing her parents die. But now we got that out of the way, what about the name? Well, it's not exactly confirmed, but there are a few theories out there. My personal favorite being this. Since Yeva is a Russian version of the name Eve, the father's name could be a Russian version of the name Adam, which makes sense to me. There is one more theory I would like to bring up though, and it's a weird one, probably a joke theory, but you know, I need something. Doll's dad is Mitchell the intern in a robot body. Yes, the one from episode 7. I don't know how he would have done this, but alright, let's say theoretically he survived everything and he managed to get himself into a robot. Yeva and him marrying seems like plausible considering they both saved each other's lives, so I guess if he somehow did manage to do this, then sure. But there just doesn't seem to be enough evidence going for something this out there, so I'm just going to ignore the fact that it exists other than this little segment, and also the fact that I think it's a joke theory, but I can't be entirely sure, so I'm throwing it out there just in case. That's all for the theory section. Now let's wrap it up with saying why he got this treatment in the first place. There are a variety of reasons this character could have been so irrelevant, but I think the most obvious and likely reason is Yeva. While Yeva is being focused on as a friend of Nori, a host of the Solver, mother of Doll, there didn't seem like a lot of room to focus on the father. Maybe he could have been a close friend of Khan, but Khan is a character that doesn't need connections to anyone to make him work. And honestly, there just wasn't a lot of room for him to be in the story from what I can see. From what we know, he wasn't another host of the Solver there, so, but, whoa, what was I saying? From what we know, he wasn't another host of the Solver, so what place would there be for him? Oh, I wrote that wrong. So what place would there be for him? That's the question you have to ask yourself when writing a story, and the unfortunate answer is, with the direction the story is going, there isn't a lot of use for him. Sure, there could be other reasons too, like he'll be important later down the line or something, but honestly I highly doubt that. It's fine if he doesn't play a massive role in the story, because neither does Yeva, but she has a role. I just wish we got a little more info on him, like what's his name, what's his connection to Yeva, and I just want to see them interact. But that's another thing, with Khan playing such a huge role as Uzi's father, I feel like Doll's father would have been pushed to the side, similar to how Yeva is kind of just Nori's friend right now. But that's fine, just anything about him would be nice. So Liam, if you are by some miracle watching this video, what is this dude's name? That's all I ask. You can put in more info if you want, but to be honest, I think he just deserves his own name. Like, who am I kidding? Liam's probably not gonna watch this, too busy with robots and stuff. But hey, no harm in not doing it. Just throwing it out there. But now that we know why this happened, let's move on to the conclusion. Doll's father is a character that has been criminally underutilized and overshadowed. His wife stole all his spotlight, and even the sliver of chance he had. And that's not even a lot of screen time from her. It's a shame really, because it could have been some nice world building to even know the simple details about him, like his name, to flesh him out a little, you know, without including him in the story. But it seems like that won't happen. Oh well, I'll be excited for episode 8 anyway, when V hopefully comes back. Before I end this video though, I do want to shout out Razaba, if I'm pronouncing that right. I still have no clue how to pronounce that, dude. They guessed the character correctly on the community tab and thus gets shouted out here. Good job. But that's gonna be all for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, as well as leaving your theories in the comments below. Bye.